Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another card video at my YouTube channel and blog. It's been a week since my last video and I'm itching to get back to card making. I've just been super busy with my birthday weekend and Mother's Day and things like that, so I'm glad to be back making cards. So I'm starting out with this really fun stamp set from Waffle Flower, and I'm inking up some of the images with VersaFine Onyx Black ink and stamping them onto Strathmore cold pressed watercolor paper. I'm using a MISTI stamp positioning tool for this, which was a good idea because my first initial stamping was a little splotchy. So I got to re-ink up those stamps and stamp them in the exact same position, and then it evened up those lines, and I have nice black lines to work with now. So I'm going to add some words to go into that banner. These words are shaped specifically to go into the banner, and there's quite a few different phrase sayings to choose from in that stamp set. I chose sending birthday wishes because I send so many birthday cards. It's hard to believe. So I'm going to do some watercoloring with Distress Oxide inks. This is the first time I've tried watercoloring with oxide inks, and I really wanted to show on camera how it went and kind of give you my thoughts and opinions on watercoloring with these different inks. They're formulated really differently than anything else out there, so they behave a little bit differently when you go to watercolor with them. Starting out with the color Iced Spruce, and then moving on to Fossilized Amber for the basket on the hot air balloon. So the thing I noticed right off the bat with these different inks is that they definitely are more opaque. I knew this in the back of my head because I have seen that you can stamp these inks on top of dark cardstock, but I didn't know if that opaqueness would translate to watercoloring with them, and it certainly does, but not so much as to block out all of the black lines on my stamping. This particular black ink that I've used, the VersaFine Onyx Black, is a pigment ink, and so it sits up on top of the paper just a little bit, and it repels any of the paint that goes on top of it. Not so much as if you were to heat emboss all the lines, but I do think that this black ink does repel the color just a little bit. I did notice as I was painting along that the color would seem to go over the lines, and I was kind of worried that I'd have to go over it with a black marker once it was done, but eventually that paint kind of rolled off those black lines and went into the areas where I wanted it. So it turned out really, really well. So I'm continuing painting. I'm using a size 4 brush from Silver Black Velvet. I tend to reach for this size of brush most often, along with the size 8 round brush. Those are the ones that I use the most often, and especially when I'm going to be painting images for cards. If I was going to be painting something a little bit larger, something that I would frame or things like that, I might choose to use an even larger brush. But for small images like this, where I'm going to be painting in small areas, it's really nice to have a size 4 round brush. And these brushes in particular come to a really fine point, so they're perfect for all of these really intricate and detailed images that are popular these days. So I also noticed as I was painting with these oxide inks that it was very, very easy to get a nice flat color. When you're using traditional watercolors or when you're using distress inks, they're a little bit more transparent, and I find that you can put a little bit of paint down and then kind of pull that color out and it starts to fade, and you have a nice dark area and it fades to a lighter area. I didn't find it as easy to do that with these inks. I think it's because of the formula. They are kind of a pigment and dye hybrid, and those pigment inks tend to, I don't know if they stick to each other. I don't know the scientific reason for why it does this, but I found that I was able to get really nice flat color, and I particularly like that look. I think it reminds me of children's book illustrations, so it's a really fun way to paint your images. The other thing that's really fun about these, and it goes back to that property I mentioned earlier, they are opaque. So if you want to go in and add details on top of some existing color that you've already painted and you want to add a lighter shade on top, you could. So I'm going to be adding some details onto this hot air balloon. I'm just going to add some really simple details. I'm adding some dots and I'm using a little bit of a darker red shade for this, but if I wanted to, I could have used a lighter shade. I could have did that flat wash in Fired Brick and then gone over with Worn Lipstick. Bringing in some faded jeans and adding stripes onto the purple area. And I thought this really brought the image to life and gave it lots of fun detail. So now I'm using Broken China, and I have a new sheet of watercolor paper here. This is the full 5x7 sheet. I've taped it down to a hardboard, and I'm going to do kind of a blue and white cloud background for this hot air balloon to go on top of. So I'm using a really wide brush and just wetting down this entire watercolor paper. I want it to be nice and wet so that as I add this color on top, that it will start to fade away and wick away all the edges and have really nice soft cloud-like textures. So I added a little bit of water to my brush and brought it over to that ink that I've smushed onto my palette, and I brought it over it. It was pretty intense. I had to add more water in order to get it to kind of flow and move around a little bit. I want to mention that this is a watercolor palette from Art Impressions. It's just a nice thick piece of white plastic, and I really enjoy smushing my ink pads down onto this palette and working from it because it cleans up really easy, and I also like that it's white. I used to smush my ink pads down onto a Ranger craft sheet, which is brown, but I realized that the color wasn't true and I couldn't tell exactly what the color would look like when I picked it up with my brush. So I like to use a white palette. In the past, I've used like a piece of white cardstock that I've laminated so that I have a slick surface to work from, but I really have enjoyed this palette. I've had it for, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year, and I really enjoy it. So if you're looking for a nice palette, I would pick this one up from Art Impressions. It's available at Simon Says Stamp, and I'll link it if it's available elsewhere as well, but it's down in the description below, as well as all of the other supplies that I've used today, including the specific ink colors that I used, the paint brushes, even this hardboard and the blue tape that I'm using. If you want to purchase any of these supplies, you can check out the links below. So I'm using the coordinating dies for the stamp set, and I've just taped those down with some micropore tape, which this was also the first time using micropore tape, and I don't know why I resisted or why I never thought to get it before, but Jennifer McGuire is so right. It's perfect for holding dies in place when you're die cutting. The tape doesn't stick to your project and it doesn't tear the paper. It's really great. So I trimmed down my watercolor background and I put some extreme adhesive from Tombow on the back, and I'm putting it on the front of this card base that I folded. The card base is made out of Neenah Solar White 110-pound cardstock, and I'll press that down onto the card base. I then adhered my hot air balloon with some foam tape, and then I put some more foam tape on this banner, and I'm going to adhere it right next to the hot air balloon, having it come off the side. So this looked pretty plain, and I wanted to add a few more details, so I added some 5mm and 8mm sequins from Darice. This is the crystal color, and it's my most favorite sequin ever. So I used some Ranger Multimedia Matte to adhere those sequins, and that is the card for today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and this gave you some inspiration to try out some oxide watercoloring for yourself. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.